like this. This why I don't like the ocean, bro. This is already why. I couldn't imagine being on no boat and there's literally no service, no nothing. You can't, like, bro, all you could do is record, and it doesn't mean you'll keep the footage. Like, nigga, that shit could just, like, you know, get cooked by the water that you're just surrounded by. And on top of that, it's just like, even if it don't get cooked and it's just in the ocean and it's not cooked, it's just gonna float to the bottom. So, yeah.
Came back to the mainland. He was.
This video is titled "Conspiracy Theories That Turned Out to Be True."
One night in June 1978, a 22-year-old single mother of 2 kids named Yaiko Taguchi was working her usual shift in Tokyo, Japan's cabaret Hollywood. After finishing her shift right at around midnight, Yaiko left the cabaret through the front door and was never seen again.
Damn.
At first, nobody thought that anything serious had happened to Yaiko. In fact, several years later, her manager was questioned, and he claims that everyone thought she had quit when she failed to show up. At around that time, there had been rumors going around that several North Korean spies were working undercover in Japan looking to abduct innocent citizens and hold them as hostages back in North Korea. However, this was seen by the Japanese government as nothing more than a conspiracy theory that couldn't possibly be true. Sadly, the missing case of Yaiko went cold, and it wasn't until almost a decade later that a clue to her whereabouts emerged following a disturbing chain of events. In November 1987, as South Korea was preparing to host the Olympics in the capital city of Seoul, a Korean Airlines plane blew up in mid-air as it was flying over the Andaman Sea, taking the lives of 150 innocent people. During the investigation, it was revealed that 2 North Korean agents acting under direct orders from the North Korean government had planted a bomb in an overhead storage compartment before getting off at the first layover in Abu Dhabi. As the authorities were closing in on the 2 suspects, one of them took his life with a cyanide-laced cigarette, but the South Korean government was able to arrest the other agent responsible for the attack. During her interrogation, it was revealed that she had been training for that mission for 6 years. And that for 3 of them, she had been paired with Yaiko Taguchi, who had taught her how to speak and act like a Japanese woman so she could fly under the radar. As it was later revealed, Yaiko wasn't the only woman who had been kidnapped by the North Korean government. As of today, 17 Japanese citizens have been officially confirmed by the Japanese government as having been abducted by North Korea from 1977 to 1983. Disturbingly, a lot of them were shamelessly kidnapped in the middle of the day and thrown on a boat to North Korea. You might think that the victims were involved in something shady that put them on the North Korean government's radar, but the investigations actually suggest that most of them were average citizens who just happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. One woman was captured while she was walking to a knitting class.
Is this still the same story though? Like,
another one, a 13-year-old girl.
Cause I'm confused. Cause you talking about the missing. Did I just miss something? Like, is my brain just cooked?
Was taken as she was walking back home from school. Some of these victims were kidnapped for identity theft purposes, while others, like Yaiko, were forcefully brought to North Korea to teach the Japanese language and culture to North Korean spies. After the kidnappings were confirmed beyond the shadow of a doubt, the North Korean government had no choice but to come forward and apologize, but they claimed that only 5 of the 17 kidnapping victims were still alive. Over the next few years, the North Korean government would send what they would claim to be the cremated remains of some of the deceased victims back to Japan.
Damn.
However, as DNA testing would quickly reveal, pretty much all of the remains were fake, leading the Japanese government to believe that many more of the kidnapping victims were still alive. To this day, the North Korean government has stuck to its story, claiming that there are only 13 kidnapping victims and that the ones who are still alive were sent back safely to Japan. Shockingly, while the Japanese government has officially confirmed 17 kidnappings, the list of potential victims suggests that the true number could be as high as 800. Sadly, given the current political situation, it's unlikely we'll ever see the full extent of these abductions.
I don't really know what to say about this because it's just like
truly accountable for its horrific crimes. Just the other day, I found myself wasting hours of time.
Oh, you piece of shit.
With rocket money.
Stop,
these
bitch.
allegations, the U.S. Senate put the CIA under investigation for alleged covert action abuses, which resulted in the release of 14 reports on major abuses committed by the CIA, FBI, and NSA. The majority of the reports included accusations of crimes such as opening and resealing U.S. citizens' private mail for several years and illegally surveilling Black Power activists.
Okay.
Although these claims are obviously pretty serious, they paled in comparison to one particular accusation, or conspiracy theory, which alleged that the CIA had developed a pistol that could fire a poison dart over 300 feet, take a person's life, and leave absolutely no trace as to the cause of death.
Okay,
As
that's
it was later
fucking
revealed,
broken.
this
That's
theory turned
fucking
out to be
broken.
true, and the development of the poison dart gun was just one part of the program called MK Naomi, through which the CIA had sought to develop weapons for biological warfare. In 19...
Biological warfare? Yeah, bro, get him out, bro.
The CIA director at the time had to testify in front of the committee that was investigating the agency. During questioning, he claimed that the CIA had developed a host of biological weapons as part of a plan to eliminate German leaders during World War II, but that their research had continued until well after the war. He also mentioned that the poison dart gun was almost completely silent on account of the battery that was housed inside the handle, and that it had been specifically designed for the target to feel nothing more than a mosquito bite when the dart struck. Interestingly, the agency had used a specific shellfish toxin to make it impossible for anyone to know what the cause of death was, leading forensic pathologists to believe that the victim had suffered an inexplicable heart attack. It wouldn't help pathologists that the dart was designed to melt inside the body so that it only left a small red mark where it entered the victim. When asked if the heart attack gun, as it was nicknamed...
I'm not gonna lie, if I got cooked like that, I'm just like, ooh, was that a mosquito bite? And he just like falls over. It's like...
was ever used.
I know they already used it though. You know they did.
Only been
And
used
they
for
probably used it on some people that didn't deserve it.
Of actual use. As part of the investigation,
You know they
the
use
CIA
that
had to
shit.
hand over the gun to the
The fact that they can
committee.
even
There are
make
some
shit
pretty
like
wild
that,
pictures
bro,
of
is
the committee
already
members
just like...
analyzing the gun as William Colby answers their questions about it. Normally, you'd expect to see something like the heart attack gun in a spy movie, and it's pretty wild to think that if they hadn't put it under investigation, they would have probably gotten away with using it for who knows what purposes.
Yeah, bro,
It's
sure.
also pretty crazy to think that if that's the kind of stuff they were developing back in the 70s, imagine the kind of technology they have their hands on now. Disturbingly,
Exactly.
it was the only time the heart attack gun was ever shown publicly.
Shit
And
called
to
the
this
heart
day,
attack
it remains
gun.
unclear what happened to it after the investigation. Rogue waves. Sailors often get a reputation for making up stuff they claim to have seen during their time out at sea, and because there's no one there to refute their claims, they sometimes get away with some pretty tall tales. For centuries, sailors all around the world had talked about seeing monster waves on the open sea that would allegedly reach over 100 feet in height.
Damn!
In 1826, a French captain claimed that he had seen a 108-foot tall wave in the Indian Ocean. Even though he had 3 sailors with him who backed up his claims.
This why I don't like this why I don't like the ocean, bro. This is already why. I couldn't imagine being on no boat and there's literally no service, no nothing. You can't, like, bro, all you could do is record, and it doesn't mean you'll keep the footage. Like, nigga, that shit could just, like, you know, get cooked by the water that you're just surrounded by. And on top of that, it's just like, even if it don't get cooked and it's just in the ocean and it's not cooked, it's just gonna float to the bottom. So, yeah.
Came back to the mainland, he was publicly ridiculed by the scientific community, as it was widely believed that it was impossible for a wave to be higher than 30 feet tall. For a long while after that,
What you do if you see some shit like this, bro? Cause like,
dozens of people continued to claim sightings of these monstrous
I couldn't
waves in the
imagine a
middle of the
wave
ocean.
that's just that
but
big,
with no real
bro.
evidence
I
other than
can't.
eyewitness testimonies, the existence of these waves fell into the urban legend or conspiracy theory category. In the 80s and early 90s, the Draupner platform was set up in the North Sea off the coast of Norway to extract natural gas. As part of the protocol that was carried out to see if the platform was stable enough to...
Don't tell me that, like, they built that and then it got engulfed by it and it somehow just disappeared. And then they're gonna be like, you know, the wave had to be above that height for it to
withstand
you know.
the rough seas. A wave height recorder was installed on the platform.
Yeah.
On New Year's Day in 1995, the sensor recorded an 84-foot tall wave, which served as the first real piece of evidence for the existence of rogue waves.
Okay.
After this incident, a lot of people
80
started wondering
feet.
how many of the sailors from previous centuries had been telling the truth. What's more disturbing than that is that there were probably hundreds of disappeared sailors from all around the world who had come across a rogue wave, also known as a monster wave or a freak wave. But because most people who encountered 100-foot tall rogue waves generally didn't live to tell the tale, their testimony went down into the depths of the ocean with them. Since the Dropner wave of 1995, there's been a growing interest in rogue waves brewing in the scientific community. A few years ago, a professor at the Australian National University had estimated that at any given moment there are 10 rogue waves active in the world's oceans. As of today, a rogue wave is usually defined as a wave that is twice as large as the largest waves that come up in a particular area. And while the root cause of rogue waves continues to be investigated, it's generally accepted that these monster waves appear when two wave crests join together at the exact...
Man, it's just the fact that that's just nothing but water. And, like, it's just, like, right... That shit, like, cooks me, bro. I don't know how you could just sit on a boat and just be okay with that, bro. Because you're not on no cruise ship. And even if you was on a cruise ship, that shit is fucking you 100 feet, bitch. Are you crazy?
Exact right time, resulting in a massive wave that can sink even the largest ships and oil rigs.
Exactly.
Interestingly, it's also been discovered that rogue waves can take place in large lakes.
Damn!
In 1975, a freighter named the SS Edmund Fitzgerald sank in Lake Superior under some pretty mysterious circumstances, with a lot of people in the scientific community coming up with all kinds of hypotheses to explain the incident. It wasn't until several years later that the scientists started theorizing that the vessel could have fallen prey to a set of 3 consecutive killer rogue waves, a phenomenon referred to as the Three Sisters, in which the first wave destabilizes the ship, the second wave hits the ship's deck before it can stabilize again, and the third wave overloads the ship with more water than it can take on. If this were true, it could also provide an explanation for the mysterious sinking of other large ships in oceans around the world over the past few centuries.
Absolutely not.
This might be a bit more difficult to prove. Poisonous alcohol. In January 1920, the 18th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution was successfully ratified, triggering a 13-year period known as Prohibition, during which the production, sale, and transportation of alcohol was made illegal. During this period, the government enforced some pretty strict measures to prevent bootlegging of alcohol, which made the alcohol black market flourish like crazy. It was pretty much a playground for the mafia, in which the government would raid one bar and another one would crop up in just a few days' time. While all of this was happening, there were some pretty messed up rumors floating around that the US government was taking extreme measures to make sure people weren't consuming alcohol. These included allegations that the government was intentionally poisoning alcohol to make people who consumed it sick.
Damn.
For a while, this remained something of a conspiracy theory, but things took a turn pretty quickly on New Year's Day 1927 when 41 people died from alcohol poisoning at New York's Bellevue Hospital. Disturbingly, the autopsies revealed that a lot of the victims had been drinking industrial methanol, otherwise known as wood alcohol, which can be fatal even at low doses. It turns out that the government had forced companies to denature industrial alcohol to make it undrinkable since 1906, which was far before Prohibition.
Bro? Nah, the water one was more cooler than these. I ain't even gonna front.
Crackdown on alcohol started. The government.
It was just more scary.
Alcohol.
Well, yeah, alcohol. Yeah. No, I'm trolling.
Was that if black market dealers knew their alcohol had been poisoned, they wouldn't dare distribute it, knowing how dangerous it would be for their customers to consume. I guess they forgot to factor in that the demand for alcohol at the time was absolutely insane, and that black market dealers didn't care who lived or died from consuming their product. It wasn't until December 1933, 6 years after the Bellevue incident, that the federal government finally toned down their abstinence from alcohol policies. But by then, thousands of Americans had already been poisoned with contaminated alcohol. Gorillas. Nowadays, there's really nothing too shocking about seeing a gorilla in a zoo or on TV, but there was once a time when gorillas were considered to be in the same category as the chupacabra, the Jersey Devil, Bigfoot, and the Loch Ness Monster. I was able to find that up until a couple of centuries ago, gorillas were considered cryptids, which are animals that are believed by some to exist somewhere in the wild, but whose existence has never been proven. With most of these creatures, alleged sightings often turn out to be hoaxes, but obviously in the case of gorillas, what were once just rumors turned out to be true. Western explorers wouldn't come across a gorilla until around the 1500s, when an English explorer named Andrew Battelle was captured by the Portuguese off the coast of West Africa. While he was held captive on the mainland, Battelle described these disturbing, giant, ape-like creatures that would occasionally prowl around his campfire, but because he had never seen a similar creature before, he described them more as monsters than as animals. Battelle's description sent the rest of the world into what we can only call a gorilla frenzy, with all kinds of rumors being spread about these allegedly bloodthirsty, dangerous creatures living in exotic parts of the world.
Oh my god. I wonder what he thought when he saw an elephant, bro. He probably would have lost it, dog. This nigga seen the elephant. I think he would have just had a heart attack, bro. Cause if he freaking out over gorillas, elephants and giraffes would have had him in fucking shambles. I swear.
Over the next couple hundred years, the buzz around gorillas grew as explorers in Africa sent back illustrations of gorillas to Europe, which were often given to royalty and emperors.
Nigga, elephants would have had these niggas in circles. They would have been losing it, bro. If gorillas got them in shambles, elephants would have had them ready to blow up the earth. There's no way.
If you were to ask any European back then what a gorilla was, they would have described it in a similar way to how we describe Bigfoot or the chupacabra, the mythical creature. Arrived back in Liverpool, people where the gorilla was allegedly being kept to catch a glimpse of the once mythical creature. To the public's dismay, Pongo the gorilla wasn't the massive, violent monster they had thought.
No shit.
That the previous German explorer.
Dog, there's no way. This nigga sat here said gorilla. Yeah, bro. Nigga seen the elephant, they would have fucking lost it, dog. I think they would have blew up the planet if they found out a way to, when they found out about a fucking gorilla. Cause goddamn, it ain't that damn serious. If you enjoyed that video, make sure to check out another video like that. You know, just click it right here. You don't gotta sub or nothing, bro. I'm making it easy. Just click the video. It's on your screen already, might as well. Go ahead, click it.